Qué pompeada, gente.
Buenas tardes, Comic Con, ¿cómo estamos?
Gente, les voy a ser bien sincero, ustedes no saben lo que va a pasar hoy. Guacho y yo hemos entrevistado a varias gente ya en este stage, ya lo hemos pasado este año, y ya el tiempo que hemos compartido con Gabriel ha sido
Espectacular. Ya ese accidente de lo que es S.H.I.E.L.D, la salvó Terminator, este es para todos los fandoms. Y bueno, maybe tengamos un nuevo rey también.
Sí, porque lo mejor que tiene es que no solamente ha salido en muchas series que nos aman, que nos amamos, sino que también él es uno de nosotros. Y también es un fan de muchas cosas con nosotros, así que. Pero antes que nada, ¿cómo están pasando, gente?
Domingo, último día de Comic Con.
Yo no siento así. ¿Cómo fue? ¿Cómo está pasando? Que están pompeados. Yo no siento que están muy dormidos. El domingo está como que
Es que ha sido un weekend intenso también. Ha sido un weekend intenso. Pero vamos ya.
Sí, yo creo que sí, no vamos a ir dando porque queremos tener todo el tiempo posible de gente. Quiero que reciban con el aplauso más estruendoso que puedan tener, con toda la energía que le puedan compartir a uno que creo que los mejores días que hemos tenido hasta ahora. Sigo como que pompeando, ¿verdad?
Así de hermoso.
So we are so honored to introduce to all of you Mr. Gabriel Luna.
Yeah.
Está muy callado. Bien.
Whoa! First try, great.
Gabriel, welcome to Puerto Rico.
Thank you. You've been here for a while right now, right?
Down Luis.
No, that's right.
I catch my breath. Un viejo. I don't know. Yeah, man, it's fantastic to be here. Come on in.
En confianza pueden entrar.
The water's fine.
Como en casa.
Except that one.
Oh.
The plate-headed, weird-fungal monster is going to have to sit on my lap.
Oh.
No, so excited to be here, man. I was here in Puerto Rico 9 years ago. I had just wrapped a show called Matador, which is, I played a soccer star / spy for Robbie Rodriguez, who may know, fantastic film director, and we wrapped the show, and I was like, where do I want to go to unwind for 2 weeks? That place, Puerto Rico, came in. Can I get another mic? The threshold, or you need batteries in this mic.
Get my heart.
Let me see, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. Listen to those dulcet tones. But yeah, no, 9 years ago, man, I was here. It was fantastic. I did the whole island.
Ooh,
We
nice.
started in San Juan, went to Piñones. We had some really little fried fishes, which were really delicious.
Bacalaitos.
Exactly. And then we took the ferry to Vieques.
Oh, nice.
It was like we were the only people on the island. It was amazing. And took a little puddle hopper to Culebra, to Flamenco Beach, which was really cool, did some snorkeling. Came back to the whole island, Utuado, to the south.
Oh, wow.
All the museums and stuff, and Ponce and all that stuff, and we went to Avionque. There was fireflies in our room, which was really cool, because I told some of my friends here who I met at the autograph signing heard this story already. But it was such a wonderful trip, and I just wanted the end. We were staying in nice places everywhere, so because I wanted my wife to really enjoy herself. But I forgot to rent a hotel in Urique, and the only thing that was there was like a tiny little motel, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe it's a little bit of a letdown. She was used to staying in all these really, really nice places. But it was the most magical thing, because we got into our room to go to bed before we went to the jungle the next day, and we turned off the lights, and then everywhere inside of our room were green little fireflies.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was like a fucking Disney movie, dude. It was amazing. So, a magical time the first time I came here, and I'm happy to be back 9 years later, and a lot has changed in 9 years.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm very, very, I feel privileged to be able to spend this weekend with you all. So thank you for coming.
So obviously we're very happy to have you here, and most of the...
Can I say fuck, Miguel? Are you gonna have to cut that out? That's Miguel. He's my friend.
But I wanted to start asking you about the music, because you like to film some music as well, right?
Yeah, I love music.
What do you play? What is your vibe?
When I first started, I played the drums first, and I even played the guitar kind of percussively. I played the guitar like a drum, really. I'm not by any means virtuoso. I come from the three chords and the truth style of music.
Okay.
Years ago, I used to travel across the United States, being just a hippie, doing what hippie things. And I remember meeting this railroad hobo named Tory Vent at the Oregon Country Fair in Eugene, Oregon, it's a music and arts festival established by Ken Kesey and Timothy Leary in the Kool-Aid Acid Test days. Ken Kesey, of course, wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Timothy Leary is philosopher. Wears many hats. But I met this guy named Tory, and we were playing guitar together, sitting on a stump. And he was playing one of his songs, and I was kind of like plucking along lead. He's like, how long have you been playing? I was like, oh, well, not very long. He's like, well, you sound good. I was like, no, I'm not good. I just play here and there.
It's talent.
No, but really, I didn't have a lot of confidence. And he was saying, no, you're playing lead. That melody you're playing sounds nice. It's great. I was like, oh, thanks. He's like, do you write songs? And I was like, no, I don't write any songs. I was like, why not? I was like, well, I'm just not that. You know, I really don't know that I'm not that great at the guitar. And he's like, stop saying you can't do it. Stop saying that you aren't good. Do you know 3 chords? It's like, yeah, I know 3 chords. It's like, well, now all you need is the truth, and you can write a song. And that stuck with me. So not in just music, but in my acting and in art in general. And even when I was an athlete before I was an actor, and my coach used to use the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And it's true. I mean, in everything you endeavor to succeed at, you can't try to start at your most advanced, your most educated, your most skilled. You have to start with foundation and simplicity. Sometimes that's the most honest and that's the most truthful form of the art. So I love music, yes, and I'm playing music this day. My new single, Too Proud to Run, is on Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify. Type in Gabriel, and you'll hear me and my cousin and our. There's only 2 of us, but he's an amazing producer, and I was like, I need an oboe, I need a string quartet, and he's able to somehow, through the magic of his computer, develop these things.
Oh, great.
I'm a huge fan of Marvel, specifically of Ghost Rider. So your time with Ghost Rider for me was special, was magical, because it's Reyes, right? It's Latino Ghost Rider. How does it feel to? And I know
this gentleman right here in front.
Yes.
Can you stand up?
Stand up. Stand up. This guy, he studied every frame of the 4th season. sent the design and all the design elements from his observation, just observing, and sent it to a leather maker in Afghanistan and created probably the most accurate Robbie Reyes jacket I've ever seen outside. I thought that you had bought it. I literally thought he bought it at the auction because, you know, when you do these Hollywood things, they end up having big auctions for a lot of the props and the costumes and stuff. And I thought that he had won an auction and got one of my jackets because it looked so real. But well done, man. It's fantastic. Yeah, man, love Robbie, you know, that Latino writer, and had no idea that Robbie existed.
Well, really?
Well, because he had been invented. He was created.
He's very recently, yeah.
He was created by Felipe Smith in 2014. It was 2016.
3 years old, yeah.
That I was asked to play Robbie, and the story of that is there was for about 2 months my agents kept telling me. Marvel wants to talk to you about playing this guest star role on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was like, guest star? It's like, nah. And they're like, well, it's Marvel. I was like, I know, but if I do a guest star, then I'm off the table for everything else. This is a vast universe. There's so many opportunities. If I'm just going to do this one-off, I don't know if I was going to be like an agent who gets shot by a monster. I don't know what the story was at the time. And they were like, so I kept saying no for like 2 months. And finally, I was in Marfa, Texas, at a film festival, and I got the call from my agents like, you're gonna want to take this meeting because it just kind of got released down in San Diego. They had started wrapping buses with a flaming chain promotional posters for the new season, which kind of as a little hint it was to come, and everybody kind of started putting it together. They're like, oh, well, maybe it's Ghost Rider. And then so they told me that was the character. I was like, that's weird. Maybe they saw, I did a show called Harley and the Davidsons where I was a motorcycle racer. I was like, well, maybe they saw that and they thought I could play Johnny Blaze, who is very clearly like this blonde-haired dude. But they're like, no, just go on the internet and research it. And there he was, Robbie Reyes, young guy, taking care of his brother, orphaned. I mean, I'm not an orphan, but my father passed before I was born. My mother was 15 when she had me. So in many ways, she's much more of a sibling than she is a parent, just because we're so close in age, especially now. She's 55, I'm 40. I shouldn't say that out loud. My wife keeps telling me, stop telling people you're 40. But I'm so proud that I'm 40, man. I've lived for 4 decades. Yeah. And I'm also proud because my hair's still black.
And you have it's still there.
and it's still there. But there's so much about the character, the responsibility that he had, the soul that he had, you know, ironically. His warmth, his kindness, and his love, but also his just fucking cold-blooded killer. You know, I mean, he's a beautiful balance of those things. And I fell in love with the character. I was like, I can't believe this is real. I can't believe there's a character, Robbie Reyes from East LA, who plays the Ghost Rider, which is one of the most iconic characters in all of Marvel lore, and one of my favorites when I was growing up. And so I took the meeting. It was great. Jed Moe were there. Little Benny Sue, who's now like giant Benny Sue. She's like a grown-ass person now. Their daughter, Jeff Loeb, Sarah Finn, were all on the call. And like, yeah, well, maybe you want to put down the tape or something? I was like, sure. I went to my premiere, came back, had to move out of the house I was in because I didn't expect to stay an extra day. So I moved to a hotel called the Thunderbird in Marfa, Texas. Marfa is like a desert town. It's like a one-road town. And I went there, and I was gonna do my audition with my friend, and they were having like a daytime rave at the pool. So in my tape that I sent to Marvel, you can hear the background.
You went all out.
Which is kind of perfect, because in my mind, Robbie listens to a lot of like crazy like electro dance, but you know, a lot of hip hop and you know, punk and shit like that, but also like electro kind of shit. But yeah, so I got that part, loved it, couldn't believe it. 1 week later, I was on set shooting the thing. Literally from the day that I met with him to the day I was on set, it was 1 week. The entire cast was in San Diego at Comic-Con, and I was working, crushing a Nazi with my car. It was great. If you see a Nazi, crush the Nazi.
And coming into such an established show, you came in the fourth season, and some might say that you revitalized that show and maybe put us on fire.
Would you say that?
Oh, I truly will.
I have to tell you, as a huge Marvel fan, I felt like that. When you came to the show, you gave that new fire.
Well, you said that, and so did the entire crew, which was really cool. But it wasn't just me, man. It was me. It was Mark Kolpak, our VFX supervisor. My stunt double Morgan Benoit, who had a very easy job because, you see actors all the time. Oh, I did all my stunts. I didn't do all of them, but I did almost all of them.
Ooh.
And when it came to the combat and I love that shit. I was an athlete. I was a football player, and that's so anything that I can do, I will do. The things that are beyond my limits, I know my limits, and I give it to the professionals. So for the most part, all the combat you see, Terminator, Ghost Rider, and it's me. And some of the driving, Ghost Rider as well, because Mark Kolpak, VFX, Morgan Benoit, my stuntman, Eric Norris, Chuck Norris's son, my driving double, Eddie Snake River Braun, famous stuntman, my other driver. All of us together with Ghost Rider. And we did. The show was in danger of being canceled. They moved it to Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Tuesday night at 9, which is like the death knell. And they got 3 more seasons after that. So, yeah.
It went more dark in that also at a later time frame as well. So.
Exactly.
Just quickly, we're gonna take questions from the audience. So if you want to ask questions, line up in the middle. There's gonna be a mic.
How long is this Q&A? I've been talking forever, dude.
You can talk for how long you want.
I just see people leaving, and I'm just like, they're like, this guy won't shut up.
I wanted to ask you a bit about your experience as a Terminator, right?
Yeah.
Such also an iconic character, but at the same time, you had to do something that was completely different to what came before.
Right. Yeah, the Terminator was dream come true. The part they said Tim Miller wanted to meet me. I met with Tim. It was a full 4 or 5 month casting process. One that apparently was identical to what Robert Patrick went through, Terminator 2. Stunt assessment, meeting with Jim, screen test, just every single step of the way. It was. I listened to a podcast that Robert did about how he got that role, and it was the exact same process. Got it. Went to Spain and Budapest, Spain and Hungary to shoot it. Met Arnold Schwarzenegger. He became literally one of my best friends in Los Angeles, and somebody who I look up to as a father figure, somebody who I look up to and as a leader. And we hang out at his house and smoke cigars and feed oat milk cookies to his donkey.
Oh, okay.
He has a donkey named Lulu, and he has a mini horse named Whiskey. And his girlfriend Heather makes these oat milk cookies with no sugar in them, and we just sit out, smoke cigars, and feed the donkey cookies.
And working with Linda Hamilton, one of the greatest of all time as well.
Greatest of all time is a extremely affectionate person and will literally kiss you on the mouth when she meets you. The moment she meets you, she will kiss you directly on the mouth. That's true. And I saw it. It wasn't just me. Every single person that she meets, kiss them on the mouth. I mean, COVID must have been like a nightmare for her.
So before we get to
But she's phenomenal. She loves fantasy books.
Yeah.
And she's super girly, if you can imagine. Yeah. Sarah Connor is every bit the creation of Linda Hamilton, because Linda Hamilton is not Sarah Connor. She's just so sweet, so nice, and a good kisser.
That's good to know.
So I'll kill myself if I don't ask you.
You're gonna ask him the question, aren't you?
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead.
So anybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge Last of Us fan.
Okay.
And you are my new uncle. You're my Uncle Tommy now. So,
Rico.
bendición.
Rico. Cálmate, Rico.
Bendición, tío.
Mucha gente.
So, you've been people in Puerto big, huge fan of Terminator, MCU, now coming to one of the, from my point of view, one of the greatest IP in gaming of all time, The Last of Us. How was that process and thinking about what Tommy will mean in future years and what to come as well?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I did have experience with stepping into roles that are already beloved. And if I fuck up, they're gonna let me know, and I will have to live with it for the rest of my life. Which could be, in some instances, like, you know, maybe even a career killer. You take on a role that people love and you fuck it up, and like, where do you go from there? All you little kids in here, forgive me for my horrible language. Earmuffs. But also they say you really can't trust someone who doesn't curse. And sometimes, I think there was also a study done that says it's a sign of intelligence, usually. But anyway. So yeah, you do the Ghost Rider, you do the Terminator, you have this experience. So going to The Last of Us, 10 years, people have fallen in love with those stories. I got to play them, and then I realized, okay, this is why these games are held in such high regard, have won so many awards, and these characters are deeper than most of the shows you'll see on there's so many shows these days that are just face value. And this Neil and his team built a beautiful world inhabited by incredible characters. Why are all these fungal creatures?
For some reason they're coming in. I don't know why.
You look amazing. So I made sure that I knew, I fell in love with the games. I finished both of them right before we left. And so I was doing it just as much for me as I was for y'all, because we had to do it right. We had to. It deserved it. And we built the most incredible team, the artists all across the board. From our production designer, our costume designer, Cynthia Summers is an Emmy winner, Oscar winner. John Payne, Emmy winner, Oscar winner. Craig Mason, Emmy winner. It's just like, it's the top of the top. Neil Druckmann, game designer, you know. And so you have to meet that bar. And not only did we meet it, but we felt that we superseded anything that we expected from ourselves.
You really did.
And you all showed up, man. You showed up in droves. And each week, the viewership was growing by the millions. And that's not just us who know the game and love it and played it. That's us telling our friends. Yeah. And our friends seeing it and seeing value and seeing quality objectively, which is really great and important. So now we're going into season 2. Anybody, are you excited for season 2?
Before we go to the audience questions, there's a question I need to ask you.
Ask me. But wait, first, on the subject of season 2, let me go ahead and spoil the whole thing for you. No, I won't. Because Craig Mason sent me a text as long as my freaking arm. See, I'm now censoring myself for the young children. But literally, as long as my arm. And he spelled out, they broke the story, he spelled out what's going to happen as we move forward in the story. And it is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And those who were kind of fiending for a little bit more action, a little more violence, you are going to be in for it. I tell you what. I mean, it's going to be spectacle.
Yes.
Spectacle on the scale that only HBO can accomplish. So look forward to that.
Yes. And also the person
So,
dude, what's your name, man? Yeah, you. No, you. Yes, you. What? Stand up, bro, please. Look how amazing this guy's mask is.
Oh!
You're lucky I don't have my trusty machete. I always say it, man. You don't have to reload a blade. Always keep the blade on you. Several shivs. Why are there so many broken scissors in the world?
They go with cabinets.
Sure, but why is there only half of this?
yeah, why are they broken, right?
Anyway,
Somebody's going around. Yeah.
it's a Neil question. Go ahead.
Is Pedro Pascal as amazing as we all know he is?
Pedro is extremely playful, very giving actor, very present. He's got an energy. He's got a childlike energy, which was amazing. I think is what helped he and Rico bond so quickly.
Yes.
And then he and Bella. And great taste in music. Really fun to hang out with. And you know, he likes 4 shots of espresso on ice, which is insane. It's insane. It makes complete sense that he has this energy that he has. But then he hits that dip and, you know, he goes Mimi's because he's so tired from the 4 espressos and the crash. But no, he's a wonderful guy, wonderful actor. I love him. He's my brother, and we have some work to do.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Let's do it. Danny. How you doing? This is Danny. She's fantastic. Round of applause for Danny. She's got a Kirby bucket hat, I think. Is that Kirby?
Hey, Bunny.
Oh, Bad Bunny.
Bunny.
Hey, Bunny. Oh, okay. But Bad Bunny did make that bucket hat super popular. I went into a shop in Gabación. The whole shop was bucket hats. I was like, it's not even this many people in Puerto Rico. I don't know so many bucket hats. Okay, let's go. How you doing, sweetheart?
Hi. You're wondering what I'm dressed as? It's not The Last of Us, but something that Lindsay was in as, where she played the sister of the character I'm cosplaying as.
Oh, okay. I love Melanie. We only know each other via Instagram and messaging each other and like, oh, I love you, you're so great, oh, blah, 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 blah. She's a fantastic actor. I love her. I can't wait to see her in person.
Here's my question. And how intimidated were you upon receiving the role of the villain from Terminator Dark Fate?
I wouldn't say that I was intimidated by the role because years ago I decided that it's important to run towards the things that make me afraid. Say it all the time. I think it's important as an actor, important as a person. Within shape, obviously preserve your life, but also things that won't kill you. Cliches will make you stronger, and you need to go and run towards the things that make you scared. Having to step into shoes previously worn by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert's amazing performance absolutely could seem daunting, but for me it was a challenge, and it was my opportunity to honor them and to build on what they've created and make it bigger, better, faster, more handsome. Of course. But I loved it so much. Once again, it was a project that I loved, that I grew up. In fact, the first rated R movie I ever saw was Terminator 2 with my mom. My mother was a single mother.
So did I with my parents as a little kid.
Yeah, me too.
And I was so traumatized by the movie. And Robert is scary.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, I was 12 years old, my brother was 10. And it's one of those movies where you're John Connor,
Mm-hmm.
You can see yourself as a kid, like, it's me with Arnold Schwarzenegger, And here we are, you fast forward 30 years, or almost 30 years, 25, let's say, and there I was in that position. Fighting him. Literally fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you just have to decide to let the reality be real that you are here now doing this, fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger. You are going to be the Terminator. It's not up to you anymore. You're already here doing it. They're going to put the movie out and it's going to live forever. Unless they, or at least if they can, at least as long as they still have Blu-rays of it. So the internet might go away and we lose all of our entertainment, everything we've ever created. But yes, it was an amazing opportunity, and I saw it as a challenge.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's really
Thank you,
un
dear.
placer, Gabriel.
It was a pleasure to meet you. Blessings to you too.
Thank you.
Hey, Megan. This is Megan. My sister's name is Megan.
Very good name.
Yeah.
My question for you is from the perspective of a musician.
Right.
If you could portray or produce any specific biopic,
I have the answer.
specific artist,
So this is what I would do. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I know exactly what your question is, and I have the answer. So what I want to do is have you ever seen La Bamba? Of course you have.
Yeah, of course.
The great Richie Valenzuela, famously perished in a plane accident with Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper. The day the music died, exactly. What if the music did die? And what if Richie Valens, a great Mexican-American rock and roll star, got to live his life, got to experience immense success, and got to live through the 60s and start doing drugs, live through the 70s, and had the career that Bob Dylan has, or a Bruce Springsteen, or whatever, just Richie Valens being able to live to old age, and having the rock star life that he would have had. And that way I can play him, because
That would be amazing.
So yeah, I would love to do a movie with what if Richie Valens hadn't perished in that plane, and was still here with us.
That's amazing.
Hey.
Sorry, I can't.
Oh yeah, the threshold on these mics is weird, so if you speak up, it'll pick up.
Yeah. So my last was, what are you listening to? What's on your playlist?
What am I listening to right now? My favorite band is The Clash. So it's like my little blanket to go throw combat rock on and just jam. I love Griselda, all the rappers of Griselda. So like West Side Gun is a friend of mine. I love those guys. Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun. There's a guy named Joel Ross, beautiful, amazing vibraphonist. His album called Kingmaker, great jazz musician. Joel Ross, amazing. Everything, anything and everything. I listen to everything. What else have we been listening to? My wife, for some reason, has been listening to Mambo No. 5. I don't know where she heard it.
That's a good one.
But she knows the song. We all knew it. It was like they played it every 5 minutes at some point back in the 90s. But for some reason, like she heard it somewhere recently, and she's constantly playing Mambo No. 5. And I don't know why. So Mambo No. 5.
That's great.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yes, sir.
My question is, we already saw Pedro Pascal and Leo Luna in South. Do you think there's a chance to see you in the franchise?
Good question. I do. That's people have asked me that for the last few years, and they're like, "You've done Marvel, you've done the Terminator, you've done the last what you wanted. Tell me, what haven't you done?" And I was like, "Well, I want to visit a galaxy far, far away." I wrote Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck a letter about 3 or 4 years ago. In the new Ahsoka show, they're gonna. My favorite Star Wars anything besides A New Hope is Rebels.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Rebels is my favorite Star Wars anything.
It'd be a great
Maybe even
answer.
more so than the original. I mean, because the first season feels kind of like for children a little bit on Disney XD, but as it goes on, it becomes some of the most rich storytelling in all of the canon. And also, Ezra came from a place with 2 moons. My last name is Luna. He loves animals. I love animals. It's like we're the same person. Because I wrote a letter to Dave saying as much, and they wrote me back really sweet, like, "Well, we have no real plans for Kick right now. We'd love to keep you." And then as it came around, they ended up going with a much younger actor. I don't know. I think he's a kind of an unknown guy, and which is amazing. It's just in Star Wars fashion, you always find these people who no one ever seen, these jewels, these diamonds in the rough. And so I wanted to play Ezra, but I've been reading all the High Republic books.
Oh.
And these are new novels based about 100 years before the events for the Battle of Yavin. Yeah, okay, let's talk. We're talking in our dork language.
Yes.
The 100 BBY. And so, amazing. The Jedi's are at their peak. The galaxy is harmonious with peace and and prosperity, and there's this Jedi named Elzar Mann who looks just like me in the art. Is really interesting, man. He's got a lot of, each Jedi experiences the Force in a certain way. There's this Wookiee Jedi named Buryaga who experiences it as this massive tree with deep, deep roots. Some experience it as wind, air, and Elzar Mann experiences the Force as a deep, vast, dark ocean. And I love him. He is as skilled and as amazing as he is. He's also got, very much like a lot of the characters I play, there's a duality to it. There's a humanity and a warmth and a love, but there's also some darkness and some pain. And that's the most interesting characters. But I love Elzar Mann. I want to play him.
If you have to choose one age of Star Wars, what age what do you choose? Like the Old Republic, First Order, or what?
One age of Star Wars. Well, I can't wait to see what this Dawn of the Jedi is all about. That seems really cool. Dave's doing that movie, I think it's 25,000 years ago or something. 25,000 years, BBY. Leading up to the rebellion is really cool. Like Andor and Rebels and all those shows. I love that era. Like when it's at its worst, when it's like they couldn't take it anymore and had to fight back. That's amazing. And I do love this, what we're seeing in Ahsoka and Mandalorian, this New Republic it's kind of interesting to see that too. So those two right now, and of course the High Republic, which I'm reading right now, is probably the top, because that's just where my head's at, trying to prepare and manifest this role for myself. And, but those are the other two. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it.
Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Are y'all having a good time? Wait, are y'all having a good time?
Hey, we met
I had a monster, I had a
we
friend.
had that whole interaction with Bucky.
Great to see you.
Good. I wanted to ask, in Multiverse of Madness, we saw that Scarlet Witch, destroyed the Darkholds in the multiverse as interpreted. And I remember that we saw Robbie Reyes with the Darkhold
You did.
in S.H.I.E.L.D.
You did.
So I was going to ask, Secret Wars is coming up, and that has to do with like the multiverse and all variants. Would you ever think about reprising your role as Robbie Reyes?
Just stare at me
This is the question I probably get the most.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, because my answer has changed since it used to be. I used to say, I'm happy with what we accomplished. If that was all that we ever did, I'm proud of what we did and what we were able to put on screen. And I have Last of Us at the time I was doing Terminator. I've done projects since where I was like, I'm happy. I felt like we closed the book and it was good. But since then, with the way that the story is starting to unravel and unfold, there's so much opportunity there. The character's a young character. I'm really not that age appropriate. It was 7 years ago that we did it. But maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe it's a different Robbie that became the Ghost Rider later in his life. Who knows? I don't know. I don't write this.
The multiverse is a weird place.
But I have kind of come around to it a little more openly. If they would have me, I'm ready to go. I'm in probably better shape than I was 7 years ago. Thank you, Arnold. I don't know why I looked up like he's like the all scene. So I'm ready to go. I mean, if Kevin wants to, it makes sense in the story. They call me, then I'm ready to go.
I would love to see you with Nick Cage. I would have loved to see Robbie and Johnny together.
Well, then Pedro and I will both have worked with Nick, who we both love. We've had long conversations about our love for Nick Cage, and also how absolutely insane he is. it was great to hear Pedro's stories about working with Nick, from just hear from the horse's mouth how psychotic this guy is. Oh, I'd love to meet him. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me ask.
Of course.
Hi, I'm a big fan of The Last of Us. I passed part 1 and 2, and it's really good games. And I see the show also. And my cousin, she's a big fan of the show and the games also. And the question is, will Abby character will be The Last of Us season 2?
Well, I can't imagine not being in there because she's one of the main characters. So,
She was the main character Last of Us part 2.
Absolutely, yeah. So I can't imagine that she would not be involved. But yes, I feel confident saying you could probably expect to see Abby in the show. I was doing some fan casting in my mind. And,
Who do you think would be a great Abby?
well, no, I love everybody.
I think Florence Pugh will be a great Abby.
Did you say Florence Pugh?
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, I think she watches the show too. That's actually perfect. I'm with him.
Who will be a good choice for that?
Be perfect.
Gracias.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you very much.
I'll see you tomorrow.
So here's my question. So on the first episode of Last of Us, you were playing as Tommy. How do you feel working with Pedro when Ellie, her daughter died, and after a few episodes later, then you ran out with Pedro and Ellie appears. They had a fight. How you going to respond on that part? Have you had to know those episodes?
Yeah, the first scene, the scene with Sarah when she passes away, when she dies, was I was really prepared for that scene. I've been thinking about it a lot ever since I finished the game. It was like this is gonna be a very important moment. I mean, we have to. Sarah is the spirit and the reason why so much of the story happens, and we have to make that moment count. We have to miss her, and. So on the night, it was a very cold night. We were shooting night shoots in Alberta, Canada in the summer. So the nights were only 4 hours long. So we didn't have very much time. We were rushing to make sure, such an important scene. And I remember Pedro being really nervous and feeling like he wasn't getting the emotion there. And I was like, no, it's beautiful, you're doing great. Just look me in the eyes and let's have this scene. And the emotion came. We just by locking in, being present with each other, and we were able to source that emotion. And I think I only had one line in that scene, and it's just Joel. And in that line, I say, Joel, I love you. Joel, we love her. Joel, we have to go. Joel, the world is falling off. We must run. It's falling down all around us. All of that has to be said in that one line. And mainly, Joel, she's gone. She's gone. The person I love, the person you love, all that has to be conveyed. So it was a lot. It was a lot to try to do. And I feel like we were able to succeed in that effort. But later on, it was different environment entirely. It's like years later, 20 years later, I haven't seen my brother in maybe 8-9 years. And it's just, it was just a matter of trying to show Tommy, who's a little bit, has matured a bit and is about to become a father, and all of the feelings that's going to drudge up for Joel. Just the idea that I am not going to be a father, and he himself has experienced that great loss. It's amazing, man. To be able to live in a world that you love, that's outside of our own. It's just kind of an unbelievable experience. I'm always very thankful. I say thank you to the divine every time I get the chance, because how did I get here?
Well, thank you very much, and I hope to see you because my sister she told me, hey, we're ready for this because I haven't finished the game, the half of it.
Dude,
I'm trying to finish as soon as possible. And she told me, hey,
yo, hey,
something's gonna happen in the end.
when you find the guitar
Yeah.
in the music shop, dude, I was there for hours. Like, I got to the music shop in the guitar scene, and I was literally, I was there for days. I didn't advance in the game. I was playing all my own songs on my PlayStation controller. I don't know if you know yeah, but there's a mechanic where you can strum with the touchpad, and you can actually finger pluck with the touchpad if you can get the right intervals. It's stupid fun, man.
That's a cool question.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. I believe in you, Daisy. We're gonna win that. That's my friend Daisy. She's in the cosplay competition. We all, I know some of you might be competing as well. I'll vote for you too. We all gotta vote for Daisy.
Well, what's your preparation for the role of Terminator?
What was my prep?
Yeah.
Starving myself. Working out like a fucking madman every day. Training, doing blade training, doing combat training. I'm a boxer, so I train at Wild Card Gym in Hollywood with Freddie Roach, who trained Manny Pacquiao. I practiced not moving any of the muscles in my face while I was lifting heavy weights, which I felt was actually pretty helpful because you're not emoting, you're not grunting, you're not breathing, you're a machine. So you have to exert all this energy, but keep a placid countenance. So yeah, there's a lot of weird shit that I did. I spent a lot of time looking in the mirror, more than I ever do. As you can see with my hair, I don't spend a lot of time looking in the mirror. But during that, it was important for me to establish this physical vocabulary, these certain geometrical shapes that I felt are imposing, strong, threatening. So that was part of my process. Looking in the mirror, doing weird shit. Daisy! We're gonna win! Everybody say Daisy! I like her tail moves, dude. She has like, can you make her tail move? There it is. It's exciting. Cool, man. She has an app that moves. There's an app for her. Tell me, Daisy.
My question is that I actually like hearing a lot of actors say like their experience of like how they got their role in their character. I actually saw like Puerto Pascal's when he got his role and everything.
This Ambien story? Yeah, it's a story where he took an Ambien after they gave him the part. He couldn't remember. He thought that it was a dream that they told him that he got the part.
Yeah, so my question is like I want to actually know like your part of the story of how you got the role of being Tommy from Last of Us.
Yeah, so my agents called and said that Craig Mazin, Neil Druckmann, and Carolyn Strauss, who's our executive producer, she was the executive producer of Game of Thrones. They wanted to get on a call, and because they were interested in playing Tommy. So I got on a call with Craig, and it was really weird to hear his voice because he has a podcast called Script Notes, and which is an amazing resource for writers, which my wife listens to all the time and has listened to for years. So I've heard Craig's voice coming out of my office, or our office, countless times. So then I'm on the phone with him, and it's just so weird. It was like listening to another podcast. But yeah, and so he's like, yeah, we think you'd be great for Tommy, which is weird because, okay, flashback 2 months. Pedro didn't cast. Everybody's like, well, who's gonna play Tommy? And I saw on Twitter this one girl. It's like, Gabriel should play Tommy, Pedro's brother. And in like a sea of other options, I think there's this one girl who's like, Gabriel should play Tommy. The only reason I saw it is because I was in my mentions or whatever. So yeah, that'd be cool. And two months later, I get a call saying that they're interested in doing it. So talked to Craig. He's like, well, you know, we love you, but we'd love to see you put a couple scenes down for us if you can. I'm like, sure, man, whatever you need. So they sent me the scenes. One of them was the breakfast scene of the show, which originally wasn't a breakfast scene. It took place in the truck as we were driving to the school to drop off Sarah at school. But we spent so much time in that truck. It would have literally just been me in the truck the whole episode till the end when we get out. But it was that scene, and it was a scene from the game part 2 where Ellie and I are talking. I'm not gonna tell you what we're talking about, but she's trying to convince me to go, go where I need to go. And so I did those 2 scenes. I sent it to Craig and them, and they called me like 2 days later. They said, "You're the guy." And we got on a Zoom call, me, Neil, Craig, and Carolyn. And we just talked about our lives and talked about the show and what we intended to do. And yeah, just like things like 4 or 5 days. Like all the ones that happened, except the Terminator took 5 months. The ones that I was meant to do, I think, they just happened.
That's amazing.
I mean, not that there wasn't an effort put in the tape and everything else, but just the timing and the circumstances. You know, if you're aware enough and you're still enough, what is meant to happen will present itself. The universe will conspire to help you. That's true. I mean, this is all. This is, to me, the whole universe is just, we are witnessing it because we are here witnessing it together. That's how it takes shape. And we're all here nerds, and there's so many multiverses and all this other stuff. We believe in the multiverse, and I do too. I think if they told me when I was a kid that the universe is infinite. If that's the case, there is an earth for every single choice that we all make. Every choice that this gentleman here in the Superman shirt makes. He could choose right now to walk out of this room, and a whole earth, because time and space is relative, could bubble into existence just to accommodate the rest of his life when he leaves this room right now in this moment. And if that's the case, everything is possible. Everything is happening, every single thing. Your wildest dreams are happening right now. Why not here? Why not here on this earth? And the only way you do that is you operate in your life with intention, with purpose, and with focus and energy and respect and love for each other, and you'll accomplish what you need to. Because it's happening somewhere in the universe, so why not here?
That's amazing.
On Earth 616.
Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, Daisy.
I think we'll have time for, there's one person? One more question.
Gabriel, nice to meet you. I'll be very brief.
What's your name, brother? I'm sorry.
My name is Christian.
Christian.
In terms of the series of Last of Us, right, it's very much a series that was funded by astronomical fee, right? I believe so. In terms of how you were able to capture the game in its essence in a show, right? I would say that one of the biggest challenges was the fact that you had so many characters, right? That had to do so much with so little. I would include you in that, right? And because you had a limited role, right? Even though you extend to the second season. Basing myself on that, right? That you had to do so much with so little. Would you say there's any line or specific scene that you worked on that stuck with you? At least for the first season, right? That you still remember, like, really comes to mind when you remember the last
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the first episode kind of blurs together because we were shooting nights, weeks of nights, very short nights, as I mentioned, and it all kind of blurs together because most of us in the car, and there's some fighting and rolling around in the streets and stuff, but a lot of that. So, and the action stuff, and that's in my wheelhouse. I could do that shit in my sleep, It feels right in my body to be active, to run, fight, do all this other stuff. So what stands out to me is when I get a chance to open my heart and be vulnerable and have those deeply emotional family scenes. So the scene in the bar is the scene for me. It's kind of like the resistance of the Tommy of the first season. It was because there's so much, man. I mean, how do you encapsulate 9 years in this one conversation and do the whole thing of like, I can't believe my brother's sitting here in front of me. Can we trust each other? Has he changed? Does he still have that darkness in him? Does he like this homemade whiskey that we made? You know, is he proud of me? Is he excited about these hogs that I'm raising? Hey, shit, man. Once we get big, what else is there? And all that is awesome. And we had the opportunity to rehearse that scene. Jasmine Hill, our director, flew me in a little early so we could have a full day of rehearsal. Just me, Pedro, and Bella. Which was amazing. I mean, because film and television these days, they never budget time for rehearsing. And it's important. It's important to help build the fabric and the tissue between us. So the fact that we got to rehearse and actually play, do a lot of theater exercises that I haven't done in 20 years, that Pedro hadn't done since he was at Juilliard. You know, we got to kind of revert back to our origins in the art, you know. And I think that's why it's special, because we did it in a very traditional process.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Thank you, everybody. So, we got one more thing. There is a certain gentleman sitting on this stage who is celebrating a birthday. So, birthday.
Today's
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pepe.
Hi, Pepe.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that's amazing.
And many more on Channel 4, and Scooby-Doo on Channel 2, Frankenstein on Channel 9, Last of Us on HBO Max, streaming right now. And Fubar coming to Netflix, May 25th, Fubar, me and Arnold, and a bunch of other great people, Fortune Feimster, Monica Barbaro from Top Gun, great show, action comedy, you're gonna love it. So watch that too. Happy birthday!
Thank you. Once again, thank you, everybody.
Thank you for being here so much. Love you.
Guys, let's get up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Darth Vader. The Dark Father, Anakin Skywalker himself. That's your favorite character? R2. You know R2 is the real hero.
I know. Yeah.
Love y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.